And we are live. Welcome to greeneconomy.tv. I'm your host, Byron McDonald, and facilitator. Today, we're going in conversation with Charles Joubert, Technical Director at Zincodic. He will be going in conversation with Green Economy Journal publisher, Gordon Brown. But before I go ahead, as I say each week, greeneconomy.tv provides insights and intelligence on all sustainability-related matters.
Industry practice chooses to have their assets protected using hot-dip galvanizing. However, there is a much more cost-effective way to protect your project and assets from corrosion. Introducing Zincodic, effective protection against corrosion while keeping staff safe and protecting the environment. Zincodic protects all steel surfaces using a complete galvanizing system, offering the same cathodic protection as hot-dip galvanizing. With excellent resistance to hydrocarbons, corrosion, scratches, impact, salt and abrasion, Zincodic is the perfect solution for all your corrosion protection needs. Zincodic has achieved an industry first as a single component, non-flammable, isocyanate-free, VOC-free, HAP-free, 90% zinc galvanizing system which withstands pH 5.5 to 12.5. Zincodic can be used as a standalone galvanizing or as a primer and has achieved 2,000 hours salt spray, surpassing the industry norm of 1,000 hours. Recommended applications include construction projects, maritime, boats, barges, gangways, piles, pontoons, etc., bridges, tanks, silos, factories, transport, and more. Some of the many benefits or properties include ready to use, single component, an alternative to hot-dip galvanizing. Zincodic technology can be applied to a new substrate, an existing rusted substrate, as well as to existing hot-dip galvanizing. Can restore cathodic protection of an existing galvanized coating or an existing Zincodic coating. Can be applied to any substrate, regardless of dimensions or shape. Can be applied in situ, providing cost-effective saving on transportation costs from your facility to hot-dip facilities, as well as saving on transport damage. Savings of up to 65% can be achieved. Zincodic technology gives you the opportunity to restore and rejuvenate your current hot-dip galvanized structures without having to replace or dismantle the existing structure itself.
Hey, gents, how you doing?
Hi there, Byron. Hi, Gordon. Good, thank you.
Very well, thank you. Very well, thank you, Byron. And Charles, a very warm welcome from my side to the show.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Gordon, I'm going to hand the show over to you as usual. Enjoy, man.
Thank you very much, Byron. And welcome to 2021. May it be a much more pleasant year than 2020. And great to chat with you, Charles. And it's interesting, this whole area we're talking about. It's heavy industry, it's steel, it's a protection against the elements as far as the steel is concerned. So inherently your business and your product is about maintaining things, about prolonging their lives, which ultimately saves money, it saves infrastructure. So an inherently advantageous and positive intervention, if you like. But there's quite a lot of technical jargon in there and names and things that I, for one, am not that familiar with. Perhaps I could start by just asking you to just give us some insight into what some of these things mean. So cathodic, for example, and obviously zinc cathodic. What does that mean exactly? How do these coatings function? What is their primary advantage? And perhaps talk to us about some of the applications. I know we've just heard on the video, but perhaps you can just reinforce that.
Sure.
And perhaps more specifically talk about the South African market, please.
Gordon, it is basically can be utilized as a standalone primer, like hot dip galvanizing, or it can be overcoated with a top coat. Now, the cathodic protection means that there's an active. It's an active coating, so there's an active millivolt potential, so whereby the zinc is in contact with the steel surface and provides a millivolt potential. So the zinc would then sacrifice itself instead of the steel, thereby protecting the actual structure itself.
Right. So the material actually it literally merges with the surface of the steel and ultimately buffers it against the elements and thereby prolongs it into the future.
Yeah, we've got a twofold function, whereas the zinc and the actual binder, which is our patented polyurethane resin, physically the zinc forms an active coupling with the steel surface, and then you've got a secondary function where the binder then acts as the adhesive to keep the zinc bound to the steel surface, and it also then protects the zinc as a sacrificial coating, firstly, before the zinc starts sacrificing itself.
Okay, I mean, it's super interesting. And I mean, so there's this white tip galvanizing that was mentioned in the video, and
hot dip galvanizing.
I beg your pardon, hot dip galvanizing, right? Which is obviously, it implies it's something you can't do in situ. It's something obviously I imagine you would have to do in the manufacturing process or at the end of the.
So, look, we're not in the space to replace hot dip galvanizing. Hot dip galvanizing has been around since Pa fell off the bus. It is an excellent system and it works exceptionally well. Our function is mainly on in situ restoration, and that's where the bulk of our business gets done.
Yes.
But obviously, there are situations where structures are too big to fit into a galvanizing bath, and they would then utilize our product to do so.
And so, I mean, this, in the context we find ourselves in here in South Africa with aging infrastructure, and I mean, aging in infrastructure really is a global issue. It's
a massive issue globally.
Yeah. I mean, so to what extent does this type of coating provide a solution that it will enable us to extend the life of our infrastructure? And perhaps you can give me some examples of some customers or some applications that are using this solution in South Africa.
Let's talk, for instance, as for an example, an electrical transmission tower, which is made up of angle iron, and it's generally hot dip galvanized and has been in the field for the last 20 to 50 years, depending where it is. And that hot dip galvanizing reaches its end of life. So the zinc has now sacrificed itself, and then the bare steel starts exposing itself and starts corroding. We can then go and do a wire brush, apply our Zincodic, re-energize the old galvanizing, and protect the steel for the further 20 to 50 years, depending on environmental conditions and obviously how thick they apply the coating. So generally, just to give you a comparison of millivolt potential from hot dip galvanizing, which runs at about between 940 and 1,000 millivolts, Zincodic runs at 940 millivolts. So we're right up there on the spectrum of millivolt potential.
Thank you. And can you just quickly explain to me what a millivolt is?
The millivolt potential is the active coupling that it's the zinc that creates this millivolt potential when it is in contact with the steel surface. Yes. So if you don't have a millivolt potential, an active coupling, then you're just a passive coating. So you've got no protection other than a normal paint. So although we apply like a paint, we're not a paint. We're actually a galvanized coating.
Right. And so just I want to talk about some of the environmental advantages of this particular coating in a moment, but perhaps just give us a sense of, give us just an overview, a snapshot of the scale of the industry for these types of coatings. And also maybe, as I mentioned, maybe just mention some of the big customers in South Africa that are actively utilizing this particular solution?
The market is absolutely broad, diverse, and huge from the point of view we cater to the agricultural market, marine, military, telecommunications, mining, water, wastewater, chemical plants, acid plants. So it is absolutely diverse and massive. We've done projects, so our applicators have done projects for people like Transnet, Sasol. We were also approved by people like DRA. So we've got very nice applicators like PPRO who convert masses of steel for their client base. One of their clients obviously being Transnet. And it is huge. The market is absolutely massive.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. So, this obviously just speaks to the scale of production of materials like this and their application across multiple industries. Let's talk to us about some of the advantages of the Zincodic product specifically as it affects the environment. So, for instance, it is non-flammable. Are other products flammable potentially? I mean, is this a key advantage?
The majority, it's a massive advantage because what it allows you to do, being non-flammable, is work in enclosed spaces, in ship's hulls, in enclosed rooms, underground mining. It's massive, especially in coal mining. So this now affords, so instead of them hauling all the equipment up from underground and then processing the steel work on the surface and then transporting it back underground, reassembling, etc., they can now do this all in situ underground. The other advantage, the other advantages are being non-isocyanate. And isocyanates attack your respiratory tracts, your nasal passages. It, with continuous use, can give you asthma, and you can get horrible side effects, and which are very severe. But in the past, there's been no solution to this. So we need to protect assets. So you can understand why isocyanates were approved many, many years ago, because we needed to protect the billions of rands and dollars worth of assets out there. Now, with new technology, you've got other components like aliphatics, which work. And then you've got products like mine that are patented technology, polyurethane. We've done extensive testing with the laboratories on FTIR analysis to prove that we're a physical polyurethane. We've done testing in laboratories in the United Kingdom with all-weather laboratories. We've got ratings of ISO 12944 C5H. And we've also got saltwater immersion tests for 4,000 hours with zero effect of the coating. And that is huge when it comes to oil rigs, ships, coastal conditions. So it provides phenomenal life that we can enhance with our coating. Lifespan.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Some of the other items we've got VOC free. This is a term I'm familiar with. It's something that we speak about in the context of green buildings, where you're looking at the indoor environmental quality and the off-gassing of components. But talk to us about the VOC free aspects and why this is important for the coating.
Volatile organic compounds also cause issues with health, and it's one of the big reasons why we searched globally for our solvent. Although it's a solvent, it is non-flammable and VOC free. So there are no volatile organic compounds which cause health issues. It is also HAP, so there's no hazardous air pollutants, so it's good for the environment. And it is also BPA/F, so there's no endocrine disruptors in our resin itself. So it just ticks all the right boxes. But there's a long way to go, and it's early days for us.
No, well, what a pleasure. That and so, I mean, let's just chat about where this product is from. Is Zincodic an imported product, or is there a local manufacturing facility?
There's a local manufacturing facility. We've got a facility in the East Rand. We can produce 166 metric tons per month in normal production time, and we can scale that up to 320 tons per month, depending on what size of projects that we're busy with. For example, we're busy with a project for the DRC, where that will require 2 40-foot containers per week for 20 weeks. Wow. So we can handle that sort of scale of production. Yeah, it's one of the aspects is we're highly competitive, although be it a patented high zinc value coating, we're exceptionally competitive with what's currently out in the marketplace. So yeah, we provide good value for money.
No, 100%. Often when it comes to environmental innovation in products, there's a premium. It's often, not always, of course, but
correct.
But there are cases where, in order to make something less harmful, costs money, and that creates a premium, and this is a barrier to the commercialization of the products. But talk to us on that. Talk to us about the competitiveness a little bit more in terms of how you compare with the original stuff, let's say the products that don't have all of these environmental advantages that you've just listed for us.
As an example, I was an importer and distributor of a global product. That currently now is retailing close to around about 4,500 Rand per pail, whereas we retail for around 2,600 Rand a pail. So we're highly competitive. Yes. And it is one of our missions that we made agreements with zinc suppliers because we also produce our own polymers, which makes us more competitive. So instead of buying resins out, we physically manufacture our own resins from our patented polymer system. So we've ticked all the right boxes. We've done all the homework. We've done all the long yards in the laboratories. We've proven the efficacy. And our next round of product is in the laboratory currently. And we are aiming to achieve the C5 VH, CX, and CX Splash. So that's 4,200 hours with ISO 12944, part 6, part 9, and IM3, 4,000 hours. So you've got to do the laboratory testing to prove the efficacy so the customers trust you and trust the product. So we've also got substantial references in Africa with diamond mines, gold minings, copper mines. So we've got a very good reference list, which adds to.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot. These are standards that you are achieving. Do you have any sort of third-party accreditations that can obviously support your claims?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned earlier, All Weather Laboratories in the UK is an ISO 17025 accredited laboratory. That is where we've achieved our C5H IM3 4,000 hours accreditation. We can obviously share those reports with clients. And like I said, we're now currently going for the CX and CX Splash accreditation because we recognize that's a very important aspect in the industry, especially if we want to look at wind farms in the ocean and oil rigs in the ocean.
Yeah, I've always wondered about
It's
long-standing thing for us to build steel structures and put them in the ocean. That seems counterintuitive, but now we understand, how you can obviously work around that with these types of.
The message of our product is with a 200 micron coating, we achieved IM3 4,000 hour saltwater immersion with 0 degradation.
Yeah,
whereas a lot of coatings that are 3, 4, 5, and 6 coat systems can't achieve that. So it gives us a massive advantage in the industry. And
sorry, Charles, you once again, we're talking about what you're actually describing there is a performance on the part of the product. To what extent do you warrant that, or to what extent do you provide product support to enable the correct application and usage to ensure that these performance standards are actually achieved?
Yeah. So what we do is we provide protocols of application. So we have a look at not only what the application is, we look at the environmental conditions. Are there steel mills, paper mills in the area where you get a lot of sulfur dioxide overflow and wind direction, which carries all those sulfur dioxide to the actual sites. We look at how close you to the ocean. So we look at all the environmental variables. We look at the application. We look at the ISO 12944-2, which is the zinc graph, the zinc consumption over a period of time, which will give you how thick you go, gives you your longevity of coating. And then we obviously have a look and work closely with the client to see, well, what's the budget? How many years do you want us to protect your structure for? So that we give an all-round pricing for the client. But coming back to the original question, we do protocols of application. The most critical aspect to any coating application is surface preparation. If you don't do the correct surface preparation, any coating will fail. You can put a $100,000 per square meter coating on there, it will fail. So we make sure that we remove grease, salts, specifically coastal application. And this is an area that we're working quite heavily with because the industry works on very high salt content on the steel surface per square centimeter. We're going down as low as 3 micrograms per square centimeter salts. And the industry is anything from 10 up to 50 micrograms. So you can see that if you don't remove the salts, nitrates, and sulfates from the steel, the coating starts corroding. The steel starts corroding behind the coating. And therein lies the problem. So all these factors into consideration, we will then offer a warranty depending on how severe, whether you're next to a paper mill or a steel mill, anything from 1 year to 50 years, depending. Because I mean, you could be sitting in the Northern Cape. There's nothing around you. There's no moisture. There's no issues, and your coating will last you for 50 years with no problems whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah. So let me, if I can just finish, I just want to embellish on that. Further to that, we have a site supervisor's data book where they have to fill in and record all the conditions on site, from humidity, wet bulb temperature, steel temperature, air temperature, relative humidity, so that we've got all the facts that back up what we've recommended in our protocol of application. And with all that data book filled in, we will then issue a warranty to the client.
So my question was going to be, you obviously have certified applicators and on-sellers and guys that are able to arrive on site and achieve these preparation standards to help the client to warranty.
Correct. We've got quite an extensive training program. It's the theory side of it is 3.5 days, 3 full days, 3.5 full days, and then 1.5 days of practical. So that once the applicator leaves and he understands what we require and and he then gets issued a training manual, so you can always refer back to it. But at least for the first 6 months, they have to refer every single project to us, and we will work in conjunction with the applicator, write the protocols of application so that we're ensured that our product gets applied correctly and that the brand is looked after and maintained, and especially the customer is satisfied.
What a pleasure. So it concludes the questions I had for you, Charles. So thank you very much indeed. I'm going to sign out with one more question, and once you've finished with your response to that, we'll hand back to Byron, and he can play us out. So the last question from my side is just to ask, from a green economy point of view, it's always very interesting to understand whether the market is responding to innovation and intelligence as far as products like this are concerned. To what extent do you see the market actually responding to this message, specifically around the environmental advantages, of course, as well as the technical advantages of the product? And perhaps just give us a sense of where you are now, where do you want to go? Where do you see this product in the next 5 to 10 years? So perhaps just share some of your vision with us in that regard. And with that, I say once again, thank you very much indeed, Charles. Great chatting.
Thank you, Gordon. Gordon, it's like I said, it's a slow process because we've got a lot of work to do with regards to the specifiers of projects. So the response has been relatively good, but we've got a lot of work to do to get to the specifiers to make sure that they're aware of the product, number one. We're doing a lot of work with Martin Creamer. We're on green economy, and we're doing a lot of LinkedIn advertising. So the response from the market is good. They can see that from the test we've done, the efficacy is good. So it's long yards, but well worth it. Where we're going in the next 5 to 10 years, we will be, and we are becoming a global product. We are already registered in Gibraltar. Our manufacturing equipment is arriving in Australia in the next 3 weeks. So we'll start manufacturing in Australia for the Australasian region, and we cater for the African region here. So it's quite exciting where we're going. And the response globally has been phenomenal, better than South Africa actually. So we're quite excited. Zincodic, watch out for this name because it's going to be around for a couple of years, and we're going to build a good business from a solid foundation.
Love that. Love that. Very insightful interview. I've learned a lot also during this time. Makes me want to get there and work with the team and be with the team also. Innovation stuff makes you want to take part. I'm all for taking part in something that's innovative. But James, thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to wrap it up now. Our 30-minute slot has come to that side.
Thank you very much, Byron. Gordon, thank you very much.
Charles mentioned a wire brush, Byron. We can get you down there with a wire brush, right?
Yeah, you first got to come for the pre-required training, Byron.
For that, I'll say goodbye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Cheers. Bye-bye.
I enjoy this show. Each time I go onto it, I learn so much stuff. But the main thing I take away from each show that I do is the long-term thinking. And that's what sustainability is about. It's about long-term thinking. If you look at this company, it's global already. But reason being, because they're innovative, they think long-term. They don't just think about now, because things change and you have to innovate. You have to think on your feet. You have to come up with new products. And unfortunately for you that think sustainability is not important, the big companies are always doing it, and we're showing it to you each time. Another big company has been on the show and showed you how to innovate and how to be sustainable. So as I say each time, greeneconomy.tv provides insights and intelligence on all sustainability-related matters.
Industry practice chooses to have their assets protected using hot-dip galvanizing. However, there is a much more cost-effective way to protect your project and assets from corrosion. Introducing Zincodic, effective protection against corrosion while keeping staff safe and protecting the environment. Zincodic protects all steel surfaces using a complete galvanizing system, offering the same cathodic protection as hot-dip galvanizing. With excellent resistance to hydrocarbons, corrosion, scratches, impact, salt and abrasion, Zincodic is the perfect solution for all your corrosion protection needs. Zincodic has achieved an industry first as a single component, non-flammable, isocyanate-free, VOC-free, HAP-free, 90% zinc galvanizing system which withstands pH 5.5 to 12.5. Zincodic can be used as a standalone galvanizing or as a primer and has achieved 2,000 hours salt spray, surpassing the industry norm of 1,000 hours. Recommended applications include construction projects, maritime, boats, barges, gangways, piles, pontoons, etc., bridges, tanks, silos, factories, transport, and more. Some of the many benefits or properties include ready to use, single component, an alternative to hot-dip galvanizing. Zincodic technology can be applied to a new substrate, an existing rusted substrate, as well as to existing hot-dip galvanizing. Can restore cathodic protection of an existing galvanized coating or an existing Zincodic coating. Can be applied to any substrate, regardless of dimensions or shape. Can be applied in situ, providing cost-effective saving on transportation costs from your facility to hot-dip facilities, as well as saving on transport damage. Savings of up to 65% can be achieved. Zincodic technology gives you the opportunity to restore and rejuvenate your current hot-dip galvanized structures without having to replace or dismantle the existing structure itself.